Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Lewis. I hope you're all safe and well. Now, today you've caught me on an absolutely glorious day in London, and as you can probably see from the background, I'm in a completely different room today, partly because of the weather, partly I'm kind of like waiting for a phone call from my local mechanic. I've got my car in for a service and I think there might be some issues. So yeah, the video might get chopped up a bit because yeah, I'm expecting a call at some point. So I'm gonna have to keep my rambling down to a minimum today, which I think I'm gonna struggle with. As you know by my videos, I tend to waffle on for quite some time, pretty much about nothing anyway. Because of the actual lovely weather outside, I started hitting the beers, in particular San Miguel, 4%, slightly tipsy at the moment. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take it easy with that. Yeah, I don't have to pick up my car for quite some time, so maybe even tomorrow. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have any more beers. Yeah, but yeah, just feeling nice and yeah, nice and kind of chilled today. But there you go. That's enough about that. So on today's episode, it's going to be a jazz carousel episode, and it's going to be number 26 in the series. I'll explain a bit later what the format, for those who are new to the channel, I'll explain the format of these particular videos to you later on in my meandering. But I've got to do a bit of housekeeping first. So to kick off with, I would like to thank all the long-term subscribers to the channel for their continued support. It is gratefully appreciated. I don't want to minimize, I'm just going to be honest with you in terms of the effect it has on me. Now, by YouTube, you know, in the pantheon of YouTube channels, we are tiny. We, and I mean you and I, because you are watching at this moment. We're a tiny channel, but it still blows me away that when you exclude friends and family who happen, you know, of course I put pressure on them to subscribe, but they account for a very small number of the subscribers on this channel. So it's always heartwarming when I see, well, the overall number and new people on a daily basis joining the channel. My heartfelt thanks to you all, namaste, for joining me. Yeah, I know what it's like, you know, subscribing. You can, you know, like me, I watch loads of, you know, YouTubers' content. I don't necessarily subscribe to them. So I just wanted to thank you all for your continued support. It's always going to be appreciated here. So thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate that. And as a, you know, as a secondary term, for those who have joined the channel in between the last video and this one, I'd like to say welcome. Yes, again, your support for the channel has not gone unnoticed. I really do appreciate it. So, excuse me for a second. Yeah, so a bit of a tickly cough, which can only be remedied by an ice cool beer. Yeah, I'm not sure I need to go down this particular route today. It's still quite early in the day, so I'm going to need to pace that out. In fact, I need to stop at some stage. Anyway, thank you for joining the channel. You're most welcome. Please, if you do feel that way inclined, do comment on any of, you know, any aspect of the channel. Positive, well, feedback in general is always a good thing, because I just like to have conversations with people and pretty much in all occasions just thank them for being here, taking the time to make a comment. Now, not on every occasion am I going to agree with somebody else's perspective, but I encourage conversation in a lot of these aspects. I don't think there's an absolute answer. It's, you know, we are listening to music after all. So it is a subject. Okay, there may be items which are objectively good, but most of it is subjective in terms of what you like. And I make no apology for my taste in music. And I've got used to sharing not only my taste but my opinions on things. That doesn't make me an expert. Doesn't mean I'm an expert. It just means that I've come to terms with having this out there. It's out there in the ether, well, on the internet forever. I'm just gonna have to live with that. But also, I know that my tastes have changed over time, and the more material I hear, the more my taste develops, and I may go down avenues of genres in jazz and other fields of music which you may not want to pursue. So I totally understand that as well. But when you are commenting this, just remember, we're adults here. So we're not gatekeepers or anything. This is merely a sharing of ideas. That's all it is. So it's a bit of fun. So there you go. And that's the way I intend to take it. So yeah, even when you're having, there's a number of contributors out there who take liberties with me, but I enjoy it. It's the interaction. You've taken the time to tell me how appalling my dress sense is. I love those. It just makes me laugh the whole time. It's like, so for those who are doing that, thank you very much. Hopefully this particular t-shirt today is not going to cause anybody any offense. They're just going to say, well, it's a standard grey t-shirt. There you go. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. So in terms of housekeeping, yes, I've done the first 2 points in terms of thanking you. I would give fair warning to the new subscribers to the channel in terms of kind of trying to give you just to try and give you an explanation of what to expect from me. So you're going to get meandering descriptions about not only artists and albums, but maybe across a whole range of things what have nothing to do with anything. So I a lot of garbage comes out of my mouth as well, and I know that, but that's just how I am as a person, to be quite honest with you. So I'm not going to try and force it down your throat, my opinions on stuff. I'm just going to merely put it out there, and you can agree or disagree. I am one of those people as well who barely can do any research on any particular artist or album. There's other YouTubers out there who are fantastic about giving you the history of a particular artist and album. I'm not one of them. I'm not going to put in that legwork. But I will tell you if I do like my overall impressions of an album, maybe the reasons for why I purchased that album, if there was a story to go along with it in terms of my journey to acquire that album. I'm happy to go over that sort of information, but I'm not the person who's got encyclopedic knowledge of the jazz scene as such. I don't, I may know, this is, I'm a modest kind of guy, but I may know stuff, or have a taste which is more advanced than many people, but then I'm, an amateur compared to other people. So I can live with that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not the font of all knowledge. I just have a particular taste. It's my taste, and I'm happy to share that with you. And hopefully through the comment section, you're going to share your tastes with me as well. And if you put recommendations for albums that you think that, from watching my videos that you think I'll enjoy, I'd happily try and find them if I can get my hands on them. And I will give you a shout out saying that, yeah, this person told me about it. And yeah, I'm glad that they did. So it's, we're a small community here. We're here to, share knowledge. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Yes. So yeah, again, if you're expecting slick graphics, really good production values, really good audio, Yeah, I'm gonna have to. You should set your bar really low with me because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do minimum effort type thing. That's just the way it is. Yeah. What you're gonna get from me is my sincere opinion on something. I'm not trying to sell you albums. I'm not trying to, convince you of something that I am the, again, font of all knowledge. I'm not any of these things. I'm a guy who just buys jazz albums, which I like. And I just like to share them with other people. You know, it's a two-way street. So I don't know everything which has ever been produced. So when somebody tells me something that I've never heard of before, I will try, I'll give it, I'll go in with like the understanding is I'll give it a try, see if I like it. But equally, that's what I'm going to try and do for you, is to show you albums that either you never heard of before and I've made you aware of it, or it just can, you may have it in your collection that, and you just simply forgotten that you own it. So, in those particular cases, it's like, yeah, me and you have really good taste, and that's it, kind of thing. So this is supposed to be fun. This is exactly the way I treat it. So yeah. Okay, yeah. So moving on with the meandering stuff. So the last episode, which was entitled 20 Italian 20 Italian soundtracks, I think was the title. Now, yeah, I just want to thank everybody who watched that video. I knew it was going to be slightly divisive, or it wasn't going to have the traction or engagement which has been visible on the channel analytics over the last few videos. It was always going to be less, and that's because for a number of reasons. One of which is those who are used to my channel, and certainly the data does suggest that if I do all that jazz videos, then they tend to be the more popular ones. When I drift off into other aspects of my collection, other genres, and they could be jazz adjacent, they tend not to do as well. And I knew I was taking a chance with it, but I still wanted to put that video out there. So for those who never considered the genre of Italian soundtracks, it's made you aware that this exists. And hopefully there was one or two albums or one or two tracks from the last video which you did enjoy, and when the opportunity presents itself, you may just go for it and add it to your collection. That's all I wanted to do. So I totally understand that as well. So again, yeah, it'd be nice to have better numbers, so in terms of viewership of that particular video. So if you've got any friends who you think might, they don't have to like me or anything, but they might be interested in Italian soundtracks, do let them know that this video exists. And if there's people that you even dislike, you may want to tell them about the channel, and perhaps they might find something on it as well which fits in with their taste or one of their interests. So yeah, it's like I said, it's all a bit of fun. I totally understand it. For the more spiteful of you out there, if you just want to like hate watch it, and leave me rude comments saying, this was absolute garbage, it bored me, yawn, 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 kind of thing, fine. This is absolutely fine. I don't mind. We don't all have to think the same. This is, again, I keep reiterating it. It's I've kind of got to a comfort zone with doing videos that I'm happy to put them out, and I know there's poor productions. I know there's like, points are made more than once type of thing. These things happen. I'm not going to edit any of that out. I'm just going to leave it because I just want it to. All right, put it this way. So just imagine you didn't like, for your taste, and you're used to me doing jazz, you kind of like didn't want to watch the Italian soundtracks, at this moment. You may feel differently in a year, 3 years, 5 years. The great thing about YouTube as a repository of knowledge and information is that you might swing back round to it and go, you know what, I didn't agree with him there. He bored the hell out of me, but now I'm in a frame of mind where I'm happy to give it a go, and the video's there. So everything's kind of worth it. I don't think of anything that I'm doing currently on this channel as a waste of time. It just may not kind of like have the immediate impact or traction that one would hope, but it doesn't matter, because it's there for posterity. So there you go. So that's almost 15 minutes of me waffling about nothing, but I'm going to continue it for at least another 3. Now, so for the new, this is a note particularly for the new subscribers, the new viewers to the channel, and they want to kind of know, well, what do I mean when I say jazz carousel? Why is that different from your other videos? And to put it simply, these are videos of jazz albums that I have in my collection, which I might have bought anywhere. I've just got it in my collection. They might be new to me, or I've had them on my shelves for years. And when I'm just playing my tunes, I just, I will think about, the next video type thing. So say on this occasion, I've got 10 albums to show you. I might in total pull out maybe 60, 70 albums, which I hadn't listened to recently. And I just wanted to revisit them. And the ones what tend to flow together, there's no rhyme or reason to it, apart from I try to avoid albums which other YouTubers are mentioning. So it's not to say that their taste is, bad or anything like that. I probably have those albums as well. It's just that if another 15, 20 YouTubers are talking about an album, I don't feel the need to add my 2 cents worth to it. I'd rather try and show you something else. So it's a bit of like not repeating what other YouTubers are doing, and also it's kind of like some of my more obscure albums, and they could be, they cover a range of prices from very expensive to very cheap, which I've acquired over the years, and I may have just forgotten that I own them, and it's just like nice to hear them again. And it's like, just showing them to other people and saying this particular material exists, in the hope that if I've shown you something that you didn't know existed, you might want to add it to your collection. So it's going to be a two-way street, because I know there's lots of people who make comments on the actual episodes who will say, oh, seeing as you've talked about this album, perhaps you might like this one by this artist or a similar artist. And I will endeavor to try and find these albums, certainly give them a listen to, and if I find that they resonate with me, I'm going to purchase them, and at some point give that person a credit saying, you know what, thank you for telling me that this album existed, otherwise I wouldn't have known about it. So we're a small community, it's just one of those things. Yeah, it's all positive as far as I'm concerned anyway. So we're getting near to the end of the preamble. Let's just see if I've forgotten anything. No, I think I covered everything there. So as I said, 10 albums to show you today. I'm hoping that 1 or 2 of them you either never heard of, or you just forgotten that you owned it. And like me, you like to revisit your collection. It's like, that's what it's there for. It's to entertain. It's not always about, don't get me wrong, there's nothing quite like retail therapy of like buying new albums, but sometimes you just forget what's in your collection. And it's, for me anyway, it's good to revisit them. It helps to clarify my taste in jazz, and my development, my understanding of what I like. So yeah, this is what it's all about. Yeah, so sharing ideas. So the let's just get on with it. So 10 albums. I'm going to pick out an individual track from each album. If you go down below, I'm going to leave links to each of these particular tracks. You'll be able to hear those tracks and formulate some opinion. If you want to hear the entire album, then there will be means, because you know what it is then. So you'll be able to hear it for yourself. And I'm just hoping that one or two will float your boat and you may want to pursue them. So the first album today is by a gentleman called Shihab. No, it's Sahib Shihab. It's that, yeah, it's that, you know, two S's kind of thing. I forgot what they call it. Is it alliteration with the same letter like Reed Richards? Yeah, I'm always falling for that anyway. The album's called Sentiments. I believe it was a 1972 release. This is a repressing of it. Apparently it's a limited edition release, hence why I haven't seen it in a while since I purchased my one. So I'm going to show you the cover first of all. There you go. Yeah, I like this. You know, this is one of those kind of albums where, for me anyway, it kind of transcends the date in which it came out kind of thing. This one feels for me like an evergreen. There is class going on here. There's no doubts about it. And the artist himself, and I can only speak for me in terms of, like, I've got a number of his albums, but when I'm watching other YouTubers, I don't get this sense that he's a name that they necessarily are familiar with. They might have it in the collection, but they're not hyping it, the artist, the way I think the artist should be, which is a real shame. But there's a kind of dual aspect to it, because it's like, even on my journey in jazz, it's kind of like, there's the heavy hitters. You start off with a Coltrane, a Davis, and I've said this many a time, you start off with artists like that. They're not necessarily, they are the pinnacle, and for good reason, but unusually in this kind of genre, to start off with like the very best of a genre and then work your way down is quite unusual, from my way of thinking anyway, when I'm trying to analyze what's going on. So yeah, this is one of the artists that I think's underappreciated. I mean, if you got an extensive jazz catalog, you're going to know who he is. But if you're new to the genre, you probably won't have a clue who he is. But I would suggest really having a good listen to his discography. He's got really good, like, top tier material in there. It's just a case of your experience in the genre will dictate that kind of thing. So on this particular album, there is one, well, for me, there's a number of tracks on here, but the one that I've pulled out, and I'm going to leave a link to down below, is Manee. That's MA''NEE. It's a Shihab composition. I think it's like chef's kiss. It is beautiful. It resonates with me in a way which is quite unusual, in the sense of it could be placed in the late 50s. It can be placed up until at a stretch maybe 82, 83 in the jazz scene. That's how good this tune is. It's an evergreen jazz track, and I've owned this album for quite some time, and not to say it was like obscenely expensive, but it was, it was quite expensive when it came out, and there was a part of me what said to myself, you can wait a month or two to actually purchase it. You don't need to get it now. It may come down in price slightly, but funnily enough, I've not seen this out in the wild since I purchased it, and that might be to do with, apparently it's a limited edition, but I don't buy things on the strength of if they're limited. I buy it on the strength of, do I like it? It's just as simple as that. So Yeah, if you do see this out in the wild and you have listened to the track that I'm going to leave here and perhaps the whole album, I'd say pull the trigger on it because Mike, which pressing is this? This is called the Storyville Vinyl Remaster. I'm not sure what the original came out on, what label, but yeah, this is the one that I've got. So yeah, if you happen to see it, yeah, pull the trigger. I'd definitely do that. And like I said, the track that I would go for is Manet. So there you go. The second album today was recommended to me by a subscriber who left a comment because I had done an earlier video maybe a year and a half ago with another one of this gentleman's albums, and the artist in question is Harold Land. So I was waxing lyrical in the video about how it resonated with me, and in the comment section, one person, like, and I thank them for it. So salute you, sir, whoever you are. Said to me, yeah, there's other work out there, but one of the albums that you should consider from his body of work is The Fox, and made a mental note of it. Probably wrote it down somewhere, forgot about it, then happened to come across it, and the person who recommended it to me was so I just believed them, that they, I really did believe that they had my best interest at heart. And without listening to the album, I just pulled the trigger and bought it. It was for a reasonable price anyway. So even if I would have got it wrong, I wouldn't have been upset. But I'm not a quantity person in terms of vinyl. I'd rather have a smaller number of albums, and they're albums that I absolutely adore, rather than trying to have everything in jazz. I mean, that's just nigh on impossible. I mean, there's people who can really put up shocking numbers in terms of the actual jazz albums they own, and I salute them as well. You do you, basically. But my methodology is I have to like it. It has to resonate with me. I'm not interested in necessarily having numbers. I'm interested in quality and that material which resonates with me. So again, another preamble. It's Harold Land. The album's called The Fox, and here it is. So there you go. Quite a nice cover. Yeah, it's kind of abstract art, like somebody just just done that over some canvas type thing. It seems quite lazy, but if you see, actually, when you look at the detail of the actual image itself, there's a lot of colors going on there, and you can see the individual brush strokes. So it's it's interesting in and of itself. So yeah, this is the Harold Land Quintet. Now on this particular album, this is from, I think it's 1960s, something like that. Those who are more kind of like, they need to know the information about when albums came out. I'm not necessarily that type of person, but I believe it is 1960, unless somebody corrects me. Now, with this particular album, it feels of its era. It does have that 60s vibe to it. And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it, but that's the sound. It does what it says on the tin type of thing. Now, the track that I adore from this one is a track called Little Chris. Yeah, I don't think I like the entire album. I think there's tracks on here which are, yeah, they feel like stereotyped of jazz, or the type of jazz that somebody who didn't know nothing or doesn't like jazz would play you and say, yeah, is this, this is an example. But that's my problem in terms of my particular journey. I'm sufficiently down the road in my appreciation of jazz that I can take or leave quite a bit of jazz. I don't like all of it. So this has aspects of jazz that I don't like. It's a particular sound I'm not really into. But yeah, the track Little Chris, it just warms me cockles, as we would say in the east of London. Yeah, so a moderately priced album, certainly my copy anyway, and this copy is on the Honey Pie record label. I'm sure that there's exotic, record label version of this where first pressing is going to be an obscene amount. Whether or not you think it's worth it to get the original pressing is entirely up to you, but I'm just saying the album and that particular track, well worth having if you don't have it already. So that's the second one. The third one today is by an individual who I'd seen in loads of retailers collections, but for whatever reason just didn't. I think it was kind of like, because I'm quite tired of the Blue Note label. Not to say that it doesn't have absolute gems on there, but it's like a monopoly. It's and for those who watch jazz YouTube channels, you see the overwhelming discussion is about artists and albums which come from the Blue Note label. Yeah, they've earned their reputation, don't get me wrong, but it almost feels like a monopoly to me. So I get slightly, I want something else in my collection. I don't want necessarily, although I share tastes, and in my collection I have lots of albums which everyone else has. I don't really want that at the same time as well. The contrarian in me rebels against it and wants to go in a different direction. It's like, yeah, you guys keep all that and I'm glad you've got it, but I want to have something more obscure. And that's not poking at anybody, it really isn't. It's just the way that I think about things. So the artist in question is Jackie McLean, who, like I said, I've seen his name on the circuit. Didn't really listen to the output because of, I'm tired, as I said, of Blue Note. But this particular album, Action, moderately priced album. I had an opportunity to hear it. I just took a plunge and said, you know what, I'm just going to listen to his style and see if I like it. And I got to say, this particular album, not only do I like pretty much all of it, the track Plight is the one that I'm going to recommend from here. It is an absolute, it's a doozy. It's so cool. It's everything I love about jazz. To articulate anything more than that, it comes down to feelings beyond that. The words are insufficient. It's a composition, it's the way that the musicians play, which it gives me the tingles. So happening, to happen to purchase it for a really, competitive price, because I think everybody who wanted it has got it. They probably overpressed as well for it, and I happened to get it dirt cheap, and I got a beautiful copy of it. Yeah, it's not an original, but again, I'm not necessarily interested in that. That track is amazing. So I will be searching through the rest of Mr. McLean's back catalogue to see if there's anything else. I may only end up with this one album by him, and I'll be satisfied with that. Even just having that one track, I'll be satisfied with that. But yeah, it's given me an impetus to, when I get time, to go through what else he's done and see if there's any other albums that I think will work in my collection, what's going to resonate with me. So there you go, that's the third one. The fourth one today, I think I might have mentioned maybe on one of my black gold episodes, and the black gold ones are stuff, material that I've just purchased. So I'll just show you that, oh, this is what I've bought kind of thing recently. And I think I might have mentioned it there. I'm not entirely sure, but that would have been a good 6-7 months ago, if not more. It's by a gentleman called Harold Johnston Sextet. The album's called House on Elm Street, and the track that I'm going to go for on this one is called Dolores. So I'll show you both sides. There you go. Now, the track Dolores, I'd heard it years ago. I mean, decades ago. It might have been on a compilation jazz album or some kind of compilation album. I'd heard it, loved the track. Couldn't get my hands on a copy of the album in which the track came from. So it was one of those things where, when I was made aware that this, there was a repress out or whatever, I could get my hands on it. I just, I had to pull the trigger immediately. Again, I got it for a reasonable price. This, from what I can see, I think it might be a 1967 original release. I've got my copy, came out on the Spiritual Research label. I have no idea who they are. Again, I know there's going to be exotic, people are going to be able to show the exotic kind of first pressing versions of it. All power to you. I just like the track. I wanted a clean copy. I've got it. I'm happy. The track Dolores, in my opinion, again, is what, if somebody said to me, play me a jazz track who didn't like jazz, I would consider this as one of the tracks that I would play to them to say, this is kind of what the genre is. There's a pathos, a melancholy, yet cheerfulness, all in the same track, which is quite an unusual balance. I just think it's just absolute class. Again, it might be one of those artists that if you are new to jazz, you may not have heard of, but I can assure you, as you go down the rabbit hole of what is jazz, you will come across his material somewhere. Underrated, yes. The album itself, it's a mixed bag in the sense of it's got some fantastic original compositions, but at the same time, it's got the odd, songbook composition on there. So it's, maybe from the pop genre or whatever. It's just given a jazz interpretation, which is not a bad thing. I'm sometimes, or more often than not, just not interested in it because I know what it is and I don't want a jazz version of that particular track. But Dolores, not French kiss, chef's kiss. Loved it. Link's going to be down below so you can hear it yourself. Let's just have a look. Los Angeles-based Harold Johnson began playing piano in church when he was 5 years old. I love how these stories go. It's like, no. I was still in my mother's womb when I learned how to play the piano. Formed a group with his like-minded peers. The Harold Johnston Sextet signed to Harry Mitchell's HME label to release debut album House on Elm Street. Later reissued by MCA Review, quite a few other ones. Yeah, can't bother to read the rest of it. So yeah, if you see it, and after you've listened to the Dolores track, and you can find it for a good price, I'd say, yeah, just get it. Yeah. So I'm happy to have mine anyway. There you go. That was the fourth one. The fifth one today. It's a similar story to the Harold Johnson in terms of it might have even been from the very same compilation that I heard a particular track from this artist, and I have seen quite a few of his other back catalogs out there, but it's what you can get your hands on. So those albums didn't have tracks or the overall album wasn't something I was really interested in. So I'm really glad now to get one of his albums at least in my collection, which just does it for me. Just epitomizes the artist, how good they are, that type of thing. So the artist in question is Oliver Nelson. The album is entitled The Blues and the Abstract Truth. Let me show you the cover for it. So I am sure that, you know, for the more seasoned jazz aficionado who's watching this video, you probably have this, I've got no doubts that you got this album. It's probably been some time since you listened to it and you might have forgotten how good it is. Now, as you can see from the front, so Mr. Nelson is joined by Eric Dolphy, Freddie Hubbard, Bill Evans, Paul Chambers, Roy Haynes. Whoa, gosh, that's super powered. You know what I mean? It's yeah. Let me just see if it's possible for me to tell you when this album was originally released. I'm probably gonna struggle. Yeah, I've given up already. Quintessential jazz. It's just super cool. 6-track album. I think 4 out of the 6 I actually really like. The other 2 is like, yeah, I can listen to it, but I don't enjoy those 2 tracks. But there's 4 strong ones on here. Again, I think that if there is any theme to today's video is me acquiring albums for reasonable prices, and I think I got this one quite reasonable as well. Again, I'm going to leave a link down below. The track in question is going to be called, I'm going to use is Stolen Moments, absolute winner. Have a listen to the track itself, see if you like it. Then listen to the whole album and maybe some more of his material and see if he works for you in terms of your collection. But again, I would strongly suspect the more seasoned jazz purchasers out there probably have this album, and if they don't, it's like I would strongly suggest having a look into getting your hands on this one. So there you go, that's the 5th one today. Oh, I'm up to 41 minutes. Jesus, I might have to speed up because I can we're gonna have, I'm probably gonna have to do one of my kind of like really clunky cuts, judging by the pace, where it's not going to be, as I said, no seamless George Lucas swipes and all that kind of stuff. It'd be a really hard chop between 2 different videos, and I'll paste them together as with the least amount of talent as possible. But yeah, we will continue. So the next one, Cheapest Chips album, by a gentleman called Louie Bellson, a drummer, jazz drummer. This is on the Pablo label. Let's see if I can tell roughly. 1975, I think, was the year of release. Mr. Bellson, if you've never heard of him, he was the former husband of Pearl Bailey, an extraordinary vocal performance in, I believe, 50s into the 60s. And for her era, absolutely saucy lyrics, absolute sauce. So former husband. If you get the opportunity to listen to some of Pearl Bailey's work, please do, because there's a jazz aspect to it, but in terms of just pure entertainment, cabaret kind of thing, she's extraordinary. She really is. Now, Cheapest Chips album, purchased it from the local secondhand store. I think, in English money, I might have bought this for £4, no more than that. So respect this man's drumming style. I respect his energy. I think I got one other album which may compete in terms of jazz drumming performance. But yeah, this dude, he's super good at what he does. The track from this album is going to be entitled Intimacy of the Blues, which for me is just power. It's got everything. It's lively. Unlike the other albums I've shown you up until now, which are more kind of sedate, that kind of stuff. This one is like, pure power, slightly big. It's got a big band element to it as well. So there's a lot of instrumentations going on. If you do see this album and you don't have it, and you've never heard of this particular gentleman, if you can get it for £4 like I did, you can't go wrong. It's just an absolute barnstormer. So I'm going to leave a link down below so you can hear it for yourself. An absolute treat. One of my favorite purchases of all time out of all my collection. Much more expensive albums in my collection. Ones which, there's the odd album that, other people, they knew I had it, will go, oh, what, can I buy that off for you? And I'll get good money for it. But no, this is one of my, for bang for buck, just doing it. Just absolutely doing it. As I said, Intimacy of the Blues is the track I'm going to pick from this one. Powerhouse drumming style. Great instrumentations. It's just marvelous. Just marvelous. Right, the next album, I had to fall for Blue Note at sooner or later. It's just the nature of things. They've just got such a back catalogue that you can't help yourself. But again, I got this one for reasonable money. It's probably the most recent pressing of it, and hence why it was so cheap. So yeah, I know, first pressings of this album will go for, for whatever that is, and good luck to those who have it. It's Blue Mitchell, and the album is The Things to Do. Yeah, it's a really good album. I'm not going to overblow it, because there's albums here that I like much more than it, but I respect this one. I think there's maybe, of the 5 tracks, 3 are very strong. Maybe one's middling and one's just like, no, I don't need to listen to that ever again in my life type thing. The track from this album, which I really did enjoy, I just thought yeah, this is fantastic. I need this in my life type thing. So had to have it. Good price. Let's just see if I can work out what year it's from just by quickly glancing at it. I cannot. All I can tell you is another Van Gelder production, so it sounds fantastic anyway. I won't bang on about it too much because lots of YouTubers have spoken about this album, but yeah, just listen to the track, which I'm going to leave down below for you. And yeah, it's just a great jazz tune, I've got to say that. So yeah, there you go. The next album is by an artist that I really do like, and again, doesn't probably get the credit that they probably deserve, or you got to be deep into jazz in terms of your journey to know who he is and basically his back catalogue. And the artist is Chico Hamilton, and this is the Chico Hamilton special by the Chico Hamilton Quintet. I like that album cover because yeah, it's fun. It's yeah, my man's for that era, he's got good teeth, better than mine as they currently stand. So you know what? Let me just have a sip of my drink. Meanwhile, I'm criticizing myself. So primarily, I know his work from the 80s in the jazz fusion sphere of things. So to go back in time to decades earlier, when he was formulating his style as a musician, and that was a really interesting journey for me. On this particular album, the track is Way Down, and I find it's a modal, really intelligent piece of jazz. The album, I put so many tracks are on here. Let's see if I can work it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's 9 tracks on here, half of which I really do like, but it's the modal kind of sound to it. Again, cheap as chips. I think this one, it was really well priced. So yeah, I'm not gonna complain about that. And sometimes you just come across things which you feel once you have them, it's kind of like it was, this was always supposed to be in my jazz collection, and this is one of them. Really do, yeah. I wouldn't want to part with this album. I'm just really glad that I've got it. It fits in. yeah, there's much bigger names in that collection, but this is a really good one. And like I said, it's the track itself in Way Down is, yeah, I just think it's amazing. So if you see this out in the wild for a good price, like how I got mine, check it out. Check out some of his back catalogue. Yeah, he spans quite a big section of jazz. So he was there almost from the formation of jazz. Not, I mean, not in the 20s kind of thing, but the kind of 50s, 60s scene into probably, you could probably find material for him, even contemporary. I don't even know if he's passed away or not. I'm not entirely sure. But certainly up into the 80s, he still had, in the jazz fusion realm of things, he still had fantastic material. So got to put respect on the name. You just have to, because this guy's done it. He's been there, done it, probably performed with everybody who's anybody. So there you go. All right, 2 to go. The next one is by another drummer. And I got to say, I must have bought this album. I think this was like a £2.50 album. So again, you can't go wrong. It's by Buddy Rich. This is probably about the 17th repressing of this album, hence why it was probably that cheap. My copy is a really clean one. Yeah, for whatever reason, I got lucky with that. The track that I would pull from this album is A Swinging Serenade. Again, big band sound, very good drumming. So just like, which is the album that I was talking about earlier? Oh, I've lost me. Oh yeah, the Louie Bellson. Likely Louie Bellson. Absolutely fantastic drum work. Big band sound as well. I'm not really keen on big band sound, but I make exceptions, and Buddy Rich's album, The Driver, got to make an exception for this. And on this particular one, it is a 7-track album. I could say 5 of which tracks. There's a couple like powerhouses, another 3 to 4 which are middling, and there's maybe one that I definitely don't like on here. But again, I'm going to leave a link so you can hear it down below for yourself. If you don't know Buddy Rich, and I expect you to do know Buddy Rich, but if let's just say that you don't, his back catalogue is worth a visit. He's just good. He's just very good, and you can't deny it. You got to say, you know, hand on heart, this is a dude. This guy knows what he's doing. He's got sass. He's a sassy drummer. So yeah, cheap as chips. Glad to have it in my collection. Glad to show it to you today. If you've never seen it before, you know it exists now. Go get it. The last album today to discuss with you, again, is on Blue Note. Kind of sickens me, but not the artist himself. It is Wayne Shorter. I probably have, in terms of individual albums by an artist in my collection, Wayne Shorter's up there. His work just resonates with me. He keeps delivering to me material which I adore. And the contrarian in me says, no, I don't want the whole Miles Davis back catalogue. But I could end up with a whole of Wayne Shorter's catalogue, and I wouldn't give it a second thought. I wouldn't resist it. This particular occasion, the album is the Soothsayer. Yeah, quite a nice cover. There you go. Yeah, the All Seeing Eyes, Speak No Evil, and Juju, just some of his like outstanding albums. You rarely get a bad Wayne Shorter album. On this one, you got James Spaulding, Freddie Hubbard, McCoy Tyner, Ron Carter, and Tony Williams on drums. That's a mad set of musicians. And it's a Van Gelder production as well. This just ticks all the boxes. This is jazz, and it's just top echelon jazz. I'm not sure if Wayne Shorter necessarily gets the kudos that he should get. I put him up there with the all-time greats. I just think he's just magnificent. Now, the track on this particular album that I'm gonna put a link to is called Lost. I just think it's superb. I think it's got everything a person who likes jazz would want in a jazz track. It's just chef's kiss again. I don't want to say too much about it because I'm not only running out of time and space on my memory card. I think a lot of people will probably know this, but if you don't have it, please listen to this album. Please listen to his back catalogue. You'll be doing yourself a disservice if you don't equate yourself with Wayne Shorter's collection. He is that good. He really is. He's the bee's knees. So I'm going to leave you with that album. Just wanted to say once again, thank you for spending almost an hour with me, listening to my meanderings, my mistakes, my dramatic pauses, my kind of thing. Thank you for joining me. This means a lot to me. Regardless of how many people watch it, I'm just super pumped and appreciative that you would spend some of your time with me. Time is precious. Yeah, so I do appreciate that. So thank you once again. I will be seeing you shortly for another video. Don't know what the format's going to be. I'm just going to ad lib it as I see fit. I seem to enjoy it best rather than having structure doing it this way. So until the next episode, please look after yourselves. Please do consider commenting down below, even if it's a bit of hate for, I don't know, you can pick a thing. I hate your glasses frames or whatever. Whatever it is, or your audio is terrible type thing, please go for it. Please comment about the tracks that I'm going to leave links down below, whether you like them or not, you got them in your collection or not, that type of thing. I love the banter, I love the conversation, so please consider doing that. For anyone who's new, please consider liking, subscribing, perhaps even sharing, and I will see you soon for another episode. So until then, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.